Episode 54.
54.
Man, oh man. How far we've come, cuz. I can't believe it.
I know. I mean, we're dedicated. We're here every week, and I think that's what it's really about. It's really the growth of the channel. I think that helps, right? The listeners that we have, the global audience that we have. It just keeps us coming every week, and it's a place for us to discuss this because it's just not normal. The things we talk about, you can't just sit on a dinner table and discuss some of these things.
Absolutely cannot.
or like in a work meeting or something, or
yeah. I would love to talk about this with my coworkers, and I never will, but I would just end up screaming about it. Not like I'm in an argument or something, but just like, this exists, this happens.
So exactly. Yeah, and get passionate about it, and like especially if they're newbies and they're just starting, you're like, well, wait a minute, I know what you mean. I make that mistake all the time, especially with family when it comes to politics, and I have to calm down. I catch myself like, why am I screaming, man? No one wants to talk to you if you want to scream.
It's true. But with people, when they start talking about these things, I was thinking about like politics, religion, the two things you're not supposed to talk about at the dinner table.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. You don't talk about it. You don't.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's because everyone has such a differing opinions, and never goes anywhere. You're not going to change someone's opinion,
right?
By arguing with them. Although debates are good, right? But I guess someone has to get there themselves.
Yep, right. Exactly. I totally agree. I totally.
And don't be angry or whatever when someone finally comes around, to something that you thought of, because you're. I mean, I went through I just always keep my mind open. I try not to be too naive about things, but I went down the whole flat Earth thing like a decade ago. Even concave Earth was a thing too with me. For I would say a good year. Like, I'm not kidding, that long. And then just breaking out of that is not easy. I see most people don't break out of that, especially flat Earthers. They're stuck in there.
Yeah, it absolutely. I've gotten to the point where just I'm willing to listen.
Yes.
And hear different ideas, and I hope our listeners to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast are also willing to listen.
Yes, action, desire, romance. I can only do those three. Man, Pablo Francisco, I went to go see him like 5 years ago.
I remember that actually. I remember
it's so depressing.
Yeah.
So depressing because I really look up to that dude, especially his old stuff. Like, he was a genius, absolute genius.
He really was. What's funny is I cannot watch stand up anymore. I just don't think. I just don't think it's funny.
I'm with you. They're too careful or something. Even Ricky Gervais, I think we spoke about it. I think it's called Not Woke or I'm Not Woke or something, but he was pretty woke in there.
Yeah. Like, I remember, even right now, the current guy is Dave Chappelle, right?
Yeah. Right.
He doesn't do his, because I remember some of his stuff from when I was younger, and he was so funny.
Dude,
and now he just kind of like lectures. It's hard to explain. He just
he does social commentary, right?
Yeah, he changed his style. I mean, God, there was this one bit where he's talking about a homeless guy on the subway.
I think I know which one. Yeah,
and I dodged it like the Matrix, and I just thought that was one of the funniest things I'd ever heard, and now it's just kind of like he kind of acts like a teacher now, where he's standing there and talking to you.
Do you ever listen to Owen Benjamin?
Benjamin, that
he used to be in the mainstream. He's been in movies and stuff, but he got too too racy for, especially like I think it was during 2018, 2017. You know, he has no filter. He doesn't care, man, and he'll be racist to everyone, not just one group, right?
Right.
But a particular group got him completely canceled. So now he's back on Twitter. So he's on there. He's on Rumble, but he was completely canceled. He even left Hollywood and became a farmer. He's a farmer in Boise, Idaho.
What?
Yes, dude. So he's got this farm and he does streams. So he does both. He'll farm and take care and provide for his family that way. But then he streams every day at 2 p.m. And dude, the guy is seriously one of the funniest people on the planet. Like even his tweets, they are so hilarious.
God, what a life path.
I know, right? And he talks about how important it is to be self-sufficient. He shows people like he's got chickens and what he does with that and milking the cows and at the same time he does comedy. It's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah, you should check him out.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, he's really funny. So we got a lot to go to this week as usual. I mean, I can't believe how much goes on. I cannot believe.
Yeah, the skiff meetings, the people coming out of that.
Yeah.
Oh man,
they looked so scared, huh?
Yeah. The stuff they talked about was just, yeah. Let's get to it.
All right, so I do want to start out with something last week we ended on was JFKX, that documentary by Jay Widener. Mm-hmm. So he did an interview with Beyond Mystic. I think he's on Rumble. He always has these interviews for like to talk about the Elohim and stuff like that. So Jay Widener is starting to do that. But with JFKX, did you watch the documentary? It's on Prime. Not very long.
I don't think I got to it.
Okay, so I mean, he basically says JFK faked his death.
Wow!
I know, and he shows it in the documentary. There's a lot more, of course, that they show, but is some clips here, a few clips. Basically, what they did is they used AI to make the Zapruder film more visible, or what's in the Zapruder film more visible. Because apparently whoever released the Zapruder film spliced it. They say at like I forget what frame it is, 212 or something like that. And they spliced it and put another one because they were trying to hide. They wanted the car to be underneath under the camera when something happened. And we can quickly see here what that thing is. Great. But then, do you think that's why when like Trump, because it came to him, he made the decision not to disclose. When it came to him and Judge Napolitano had a phone call with him and he goes, "Why don't you come on, release them?" And he's like, "Judge, if you see what I saw, you would not release it." He goes, "Trust me." So is it that or is it UFOs? Because then the UFO community is like, well, because
no,
UFO.
I think it's one of those things where I can't remember the name of the comedian. I think it's one of those things where they pull you into the back room. The true powers in charge pull you into a back room and they show you the JFK assassination from an angle that nobody's seen before. And they go, if you talk, this is what's going to happen to you. And I think
right on the first day.
Yeah, I think.
Welcome to your first day of being president. Please sit down.
Yeah.
See that's our what president was he? 37 or something or 40? I don't know. But yeah, he spoke out too much against the deep state.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see. Jay Widener here on JFKX. It's on Prime. Cool documentary. Anyway, entertaining or new information, whatever, right? Keep your minds open.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. The problem is it's still a secret now, classified forever. That's what Biden said.
Yep. That's the way it works.
Yeah. Lucky.
Where she goes.
2024. Okay. Let's go back to, let me see if I can bring this up for the audience here. We'll play this clip here. I'm not sure I'm exactly at the right spot here, but we see that first scene here where
he's holding
seems to be grabbing something, and the Warren Commission, he said he's holding at his neck. But if that were the case here, we'd already see big blood spatter, which we don't. But again, we'll move past here and explain this here. I'll keep going here, but explain what you think is the sequence of events here, and why it's being obfuscated at the bottom of the screen.
Let's roll through this, and then we'll roll back again.
Okay,
that's the film, the high-quality film. You notice there's no brain matter or anything on the back trunk or anything. Let's go back and start that again then. I will show you.
Yeah, and so far, except for that little puff of smoke around his head, there's no blood on anybody else, on the seat in front, on his wife either. So let me just scroll back here. It's a little bit harder to do on the screen here.
That's a good point. I mean, there's not blood everywhere.
I always thought it was interesting that Jackie ran for the back of the car. That was her first instinct.
Right. So they're going to show you why.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. So he comes behind the freeway sign and he's supposedly grabbing the neck wound with no blood, but he's not really grabbing the neck at all. What he's really doing is he's reaching into his jacket and he's pulling something out and he's placing it right here on the right side of his face. And you can clearly see it in the shot. And it's
Right
casting
here.
a shadow in the noonday sun. There it is. It's right there on the side of his face. Jim Fetzer, who studied the Zapruder film extensively, he calls that the blob. And he believes that it was done post in the studio later with a paint or something. He can't understand what he's looking at. So he writes in his book, The Zapruder Film Hoax, that the blob is evidence that this film has been tampered with. But he never questions why there is no blood on the neck wound and why Kennedy actually is not really gripping his neck. If you actually look at the shot where he's supposedly gripping his neck, his hands are actually here. They're not up here. And the right hand.
You think to notice too, if he's shot in the neck, his white collar is still white. His cufflinks and the cuffs there are still absolutely white. She has no blood on her. Like this
it would be hitting, honestly, I don't want to gross anybody out.
Yeah.
It would be hitting the back seat of the car in front of them. It would be shooting out. I mean,
it's the jugular.
It would be so grotesque that you really wouldn't even be able to look at it. But there's no blood at all. And when they took a picture of the back seat of the car at Parkland Hospital, there was probably a tablespoon of blood on the back seat, something like that. It didn't even look real, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, a head wound and a neck wound at that point would be devastating. Okay. So how far further else do I go with this? So essentially here, spell it out to people.
Here we go.
What do you think just happened here? So there seems to be a coordination also with his wife. She seems to be in on the move. Why is she hopping on the back of the limousine? Also in the mainstream news, they were saying that she was trying to get a piece of his head that had flown out. That's the main story. But how do you associate that now with the squib technology? What is she doing? What's her role?
Squib. He's saying it's a squib.
All right. So first, I want to point out that.
So you know what a squib is, right?
Yeah, it's a fake bullet, like a thing.
Exactly. Yeah, that you pull on and it explodes, and they use it in movies.
Right. Yep.
Right. And Jay Widener, he's a movie. He's made lots of movies before. He's a producer, so he knows about this technology. That's why he recognized it.
Interesting.
Weird, huh?
When the car comes behind the freeway sign, every single occupant in that car, the driver, the Secret Service agent to his right, John Connolly and John Connolly's wife are all looking at JFK. All of them. You can see it in the film. All four people. Not Jackie, though. Jackie is nonchalantly looking off to her left as if nothing happened. Don't forget, high-powered rifle shots are ringing out here. 30 caliber rifle shots. I don't know if you know how loud those are, but they're really loud. And in a cavernous downtown area, it's going to be even louder. But nobody in the car is reacting to rifle shots. They're all looking at JFK. And as soon as, so I'm just going to say it. So JFK, for reasons that we talk about in the movie,
basically saying he found out, his brother found out that everyone's after him. The CIA's after him, the mob's after him, and they're going to kill him.
Right.
So apparently he tried to devise a way to fake it.
Well, that's one way to do it. I mean, everybody disliked JFK.
Everyone.
That's why, when you look into this quote unquote assassination.
Yeah.
There's so many directions to go, and it's so hard.
Exactly.
It's so hard to figure out what the heck happened.
Anti-Cuban, whatever, CIA for firing, the head of the CIA, the mob, Israel. I'm sure countless of other foreign nations. So yeah, there's always this. It points to so many people. So I guess that this might unify all that in a way, you know,
Yeah.
if it's true.
You know that this is the most interesting take I've seen on
Me too.
the
Yeah.
JFK assassination because
So weird.
yeah, I mean, what the hell? What if he faked his own death? That's wild.
Let's see what Jay says.
He places something right here on his face, and you can clearly see it. And Oliver Stone cuts those frames out of his movie, by the way.
What?
So you do not see it in his movie.
That's
It's
fine.
clearly cut out of the movie. So for 2 full seconds after he comes from behind the freeway sign, we can see something weird on the side of his face. Then suddenly, everybody's looking at him in the limousine. Jackie decides to get involved. She comes around to the front and looks at Jack
See how they block
from the
that?
front. Oh, there we conveniently go
Yeah.
down to where nobody can see anything. And we can't see what she does. And then the head explodes. Jackie gets out of the car and runs over and picks something up. We could be that the Secret Service agent also was going after that same thing, and then runs back into the car. Exactly the opposite of what any sane person would do if your husband had just been hit by a high-powered weapon 1 foot away from you. You would be on the floor of the car, cowering. Anybody would. It's no disrespect to Jackie Kennedy. Anybody would be doing the same thing. But Jackie does the opposite. She goes out and exposes herself even more to the would-be shooters, intentionally grabbing something off the hood, which in our enhanced version you can actually see.
So that's what she was going after. She was going after the squib.
Well,
she pulled it, it exploded, and went into the back of the car, and she went to go get it. Apparently,
you know, I don't know. I just think people's reactions to things are different, and you can't. It's your lizard brain that pops out and says, "Hey, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that." You know, I've seen people using her reaction for so many different reasons. You know, I always found it interesting that was her, you know, that was her instinct. I've heard the guy in the front seat was the one that shot, you know.
Yep. There's that too. Yeah.
And
that he pulled the trigger.
She's trying to run away. I don't know. It's tough. I mean,
it is.
Like I said, this is the most interesting take I've seen on the whole thing.
Well, Jay's got some crazy, interesting things on everything. Like, did you see his series on the moon landings and Kubrick?
Mm-hmm.
Those scared the hell out of me. You should definitely watch. He's got a 2-part series on Kubrick and and the moon landings. Still freaky how he's saying Kubrick put that in his movies.
That's right. That's right. You told me about that.
That's all Jay Widener, man. He's just, I don't know if he's either very intuitive or he's just completely crazy out there.
No, you know, I think when there's a big event that happens, people want to figure out the truth, and you know, so they look for different things, and you know, yada yada.
Yeah, they look for different things, and they want to see things that no one else has seen yet. You know, again, some secrecy. What's he saying here?
But my contention is that for various reasons, John F. Kennedy.
All right, all right. I mean, we can move along. But definitely, I recommend people watching the documentary. It's well made. Jay's in there and he's explaining everything. Yeah.
I'm just really excited we're talking about conspiracies that don't involve UFOs. Not that I've got a problem with that, but we are a conspiracy podcast. And this is essentially, well, I was going to say this is the original conspiracy, but Roswell was.
Right. Yeah. That's what started. That's what put the lockdown on the government, at least.
Yeah. No, the whole JFK thing, and I've recommended 11/22/63 book before.
I think I bought that on Audible.
Dude, that book is seriously so good. But No, this is fascinating to a lot of people because
Yeah.
JFK, his death. I mean, we're not joking.
It was a coup, man.
He was targeted by so many different people, and it freaked
Everyone.
everybody out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if RFK did the same thing then. You know, no, probably not. But anyway, it entertaining at worst, right? And very disturbing if it's true.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a lot of talk of Roswell. So I didn't know this. The guy who helped on the Roswell movie, it was like a TV movie with oh my god, now I'm forgetting not Shatner, Sheen, Sheen's dad,
Martin Sheen. Yep.
Yeah, that movie. So apparently the guy who made the ship for that movie then made a real rendering of the Roswell craft, and he goes from the testimony of multiple witnesses who were the retired United States Army Counterintelligence Corps atom bomb security agents guarding all atom bomb manufacturing, testing, and deployment. So there's a video. Here's a video.
William McDonald worked with Testor's company to design an authentic model based on the recovered Roswell craft.
In 1993, I was hired as the concept designer to the movie Roswell. And after completing that assignment, I decided to find out what the real spacecraft and the real bodies looked like, having nothing to do with the film. My research took me into a 4-year journey of interviewing military officers and other researchers who supplied with me the data that I needed to do full forensic composites of what the flight crew and the spacecraft looked like that crashed at Roswell on July 4th, 1947 at 11 o'clock in the evening. Much to my surprise, it was not a disc. It was a winged vehicle, a wave rider, one of those lifting body, transatmospheric, high-speed recon type of vehicles. It was amazing what we came up with. It was extremely unique. We found out many years later that everybody, including Ben Rich, knew that this vehicle had been the design Rosetta Stone, the holy grail of aerospace designs. We found that inside this vehicle had microprocessors that looked like the neuroganglia tissue that you see in a human brain. The entire vehicle was found to have biomorphic characteristics, those being called biomimetic or biomimicry. This vehicle, when by itself, exhibited artificial intelligence, but when you plugged all 7 flight crew members into all 7 flight crew stations, you had an interface between their physical bodies and the neurological structure of the spacecraft, which was exotic metal and non-organic components, mostly crystalline metals in exotic mixtures.
Holy shit.
That way, the vehicle became, in essence, akin to a living being with multiple brain nodes.
Yeah. Yep.
That's crazy, man. Isn't that nuts?
First of all, for people who aren't watching, it looks like a stingray without the tail.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, no, I, and just based on reading stories from, not stories, reading, fine, I'll call them stories.
Yeah.
Stories from people who've been abducted. I do think the UFOs are kind of, they have their own, they can think.
Yes, they're conscious. They're AI, conscious AI.
Yeah, it's a very weird. That's why, this phenomenon is so bizarre.
Yeah.
The UFOs, the occupants, the people who get abducted, they're all conscious. It's so weird. It's such a weird concept.
It's such a weird concept, and that's probably the best way to create something like this, where it's linked to everyone's thoughts and brainwaves, and maybe that's how they crash. Because if you're using like radio waves pointed at them, like a weaponized radio waves, just messes up the consciousness of the beings or something. I don't know, and they crash.
Right.
Right.
Thank you for bringing that up, because I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
She carried a crew of 7 humanoids who interface with the vessel's AI cortex directly, physically through the headrests. Headrests of their individual crash couches and their surrounding consoles. Yep.
And that's crazy. They were talking about AI back then. I mean, that video obviously is like from the 90s, right?
Yeah,
And,
I would say
and now we live in the era of AI where we're just conversing with AI all the time.
But I mean, it makes sense because at the end of the day, if you want to fly a ship perfectly, absolutely perfect, you'd plug it into your brain, right?
Yes, yes.
And you say, I want to go left, I want to go right, up,
Dude,
down.
I do that with work sometimes. I'm like, oh, can I just plug in and just, instead of sit there and go between tabs and search this and do that? Like, I wish I could just think it all.
Right. Exactly. I mean, and so it would make sense that, I mean, all this makes sense to me.
Well, look what just happened also.
Oh no.
Aurora flights to build DARPA's X-65 utilizing active flow control. What does it look like? Okay, fine. It's got spaces here, but come on.
Yeah, no, it looks like a big triangle.
Yeah. It's a Roswell craft that now we're doing, and no moving parts. Same thing.
Oh boy, this is definitely that is definitely a craft that was what's it called? When you pick up a UFO and you develop technology,
reverse engineered.
Yeah, that looks reverse engineered for sure.
So Aurora Flight Sciences to build DARPA's X-65 utilizing active flow control. Active flow control. What does that mean? Active flow control. So this initiative marks a significant shift in the realm of aircraft design, moving away from the traditional flight control methods towards the innovative use of active flow control actuators. Oh, they waited till 2024 to do this. Thanks, DARPA. I'm sure now they're like, all right, here you go. We've had this for 50 years. Let's just start.
All of those taxes we paid, that definitely went to good causes.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. So anyway, it's cool that now we're finally doing exactly what they just described the Roswell craft was doing. It was riding the air, riding whatever the ether. So that's what this is too. That's what it's doing. It's doing the exact same thing, or the beginnings of it.
Yeah, just wait till we get to the the gravity part.
Oh yeah, man. We'll get there. There was some evidence. There's some articles in the 50s saying that, in 10 years, it's going to be anti-gravity, and then it all went black.
You know what movies I've been watching recently that you actually might kind of find them fun are the Godzilla and King Kong movies. They have all of this stuff eventually. They talk they're flying anti-gravity craft. They go to middle of the earth, all this stuff, and I kept going like, whoa, this is all because it's funny. They go, this is a conspiracy, this is so dumb, and then ends up happening, and you're just like, well, I'll go apologize to the guy that said this is conspiracy, or apologize to the guy that said this is true. Whatever. Anyway, it's just weird how all this stuff kind of falls together.
I mean, especially when you talk about like cryptozoology, right? Those subjects. Now, I don't know what you want to do here. This story just fascinates me. I think I've watched this 3 times. I know Doty is a controversial figure. I think he's redeemed himself. He's come and told us that he was part of disinformation, but still, because he still investigated real stories. He just part of his job was to muddy the waters, and he did. And
I don't know what to think. I don't like Richard Doty. But
I guess I'm on the fence with the guy.
I'm like 70-30 on him. 70
that he's still a disinformation guy.
Yeah.
What do you think about this story when you talked about it?
I've heard this story many times. I do think we should watch. No, we don't. We don't have time for that.
It'll be nice. I think a lot of our listeners would like to hear it. But like, what should I put it on like double speed or something like that? Where that way, you know what I mean? Like, it won't. I don't think it'll sound that bad. Wait,
can you sum it up?
Let's try. Well, all right. So here so apparently, do you know the Zamora incident? Apparently, the Blue Book officer was his uncle. Who did that.
This is you've pushed me to.
No, but we talked about this. You've asked questions like, okay, so how would I get into this? And we've said like you have to be born into it.
Yeah. No.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's born into it, and I don't know. I would like. I'm 50-50. I know you're 70-30. I'm 50-50 on the guy.
I just
I'm worried.
if your job is to lie, and we've talked about the CIA and the government, that essentially you never stop working for them at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
fascinating story.
So wait,
But
all right, let's listen to it.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's not here. Okay, so good. At least he was talking about other stories. So this is another one. This is the one that let me try doing 1.5. That way it won't sound like a chipmunk.
Who were outside, they saw this UFO come in and land. The two technicians immediately.
All right, wait. So he's talking about in New Mexico, there's a site. We skipped this, but there's a site out there that shoots lasers at oncoming like Russian satellites to blind them to what's going on at the base.
Mhm.
So these two technicians were sent out to fix this thing, and then he tells the story. They saw a UFO land.
Notified the radar site command center. The command center advised the UFO was on their radar screen, traveling from the west, but they lost it, the UFO, over the radar site because the UFO had landed. The two technicians observed the UFO swirl on the ground before coming to rest adjacent to a maintenance building. The bottom panel of the craft opened. Two strange-looking beings exited the craft. Now, these are words that came from the technicians. They were thoroughly interviewed, and what I'm telling you is their description of what they saw. The creatures were described as 4 foot tall, thin appearance, wearing a helmet with a long tube connected to a tank on their back. The creatures had arms and legs. The creatures moved their arms in several different motions, apparently trying to communicate with the technicians. What the technicians said was they were trying to make hand signals, moving their hands back and forth. The technicians spoke English to the creatures. The creatures didn't seem to understand the technicians. One of the technicians spoke Spanish, but the creatures, again, didn't understand the language and didn't respond.
What does that middle finger
One
mean?
of the creatures produced a long cylinder.
Yeah. What does that middle finger mean? I'm sure it's universal, right? I mean, just go bowling and then you'll hit everything except that middle one, and it still looks like a middle finger. It's like, F you missed.
I would love it if the aliens came down and they're trying to communicate, and we finally, after years and years of research, trying to figure out what are they saying, and what they're saying is go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, you guys are idiots.
Yeah.
All right, so they pull out this device. Obviously, other than what the officers think it is, I would anyway. Here, let's just listen.
Cylinder from its suit. The creature moved towards the technicians with the cylinder, attempting, the technicians thought, to give this cylinder to the technicians, fearing that the object might be radioactive or a weapon. The technicians refused to accept the cylinder. One of the creatures made a hand motion indicating for the technicians to enter the craft.
See, that's unfortunate. Now, I know these guys are trained to always think everyone's an enemy and everything's weaponized because we weaponize everything. It doesn't mean other species do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so they were very paranoid about this object, which is sad. Now, when we listen to the rest of the story, it's very unfortunate. I mean, I guess if you were in their position, it's hard to say how we'd act too.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's one of those things where you don't know what another person's intentions are.
I mean, this thing lands, two beings come out. You can't it's a top secret base, and then they pull out something. You might think they're Russians,
Yeah, and you can't communicate, and they're giving you the finger.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to hand you some sort of cylinder. Yeah, I mean, no, I know it's complicated. Yeah.
So all right, let's just continue. It's a crazy story.
Motioning towards the craft in a gesture that the technicians thought meant for them to walk inside the craft. At this point, the technicians radioed to the command center to send help to their location. 2 Air Force military policemen arrived, both carrying a handgun and rifle. The standard weapons worn by Air Force security police personnel or military police was a .38 revolver, 6-shot, and an M16 rifle, which contained a magazine with normally 20 rounds in it. And what the military policemen were trying to do was challenge the creatures, which would be typical of military police. Identify yourself, keep your hands in the air, things like that. But the creatures didn't seem to understand anything that the MPs were doing or saying. One of the creatures walked to the senior MP and attempted to grab his arm. The MP pulled away aggressively. This appeared to scare the creatures. Now, you have to put yourself in the military policeman's shoes. These creatures weren't human looking.
Yeah.
This happened in a very classified area. These MPs are highly trained to protect Air Force resources, especially top secret resources. So they were on their probably highest state of alert. And these creatures, non-humans, couldn't understand anything that these military police were saying or trying to do. One of the MPs pointed his rifle, an M16 rifle, at the creature and motioned for it to come with him.
Freaking AI.
He's like,
and the man
AI.
I
No,
know.
I'm laughing at the picture. AI cannot drop. Yeah, look at how many fingers.
1,
he's got.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Or
Yeah.
more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
No.
6, 7.
Yeah. We're not losing
It's
our,
funny.
we're
it's
not
funny
losing
'cause-
our we're not losing
Yeah.
our jobs yet.
Right. But it's funny how like the alien said, come with us into the UFO. And then they call the MPs and he's like, no, you come with us inside. I think it's typical behavior, you know?
Yeah.
which meant you come with me. The creature didn't understand. Both creatures then returned to their craft. Panel closed and the craft took off towards the southwest. The creatures left the cylinder on the ground. Now, here we are in a situation where there was a confrontation between U.S. military personnel and extraterrestrials. We didn't know, or the military personnel didn't know the intentions of these extraterrestrials. You got to
I just
understand.
wanted to say hi,
that
man.
These military personnel, even though they're highly trained, probably were extremely scared too. They were confronting something that they've never seen before. They didn't know what the creature's intentions were.
He's
Were
like,
they
"Take that."
hostile? Why did they land in a top secret facility? And as one of the military policemen told us later, his first impression was, could these really be Russian personnel or Soviet deep cover operatives
The commies.
flying in some strange craft into a top secret facility
Maybe.
to attack it, to steal something, or just obtain intelligence? Now, I know that's kind of out there for some people to believe, but you understand that if you're put in a situation like the military policemen were put into, all sorts of things probably ran through your mind. But their main concern at this point was the cylinder that was left on the ground. There's no way that the military policemen could have detained these two creatures. They tried. They tried to have them come with them, but the creatures didn't. They returned to the craft.
Did
while
they
they were
ever
returning
do
to the craft-
testing on the cylinder?
Yeah, so let's skip to that part. Here he
So
talks about- yeah.
it's really not that far fetched. What's that group of people that live off the coast of is it India? And they've never been contacted by general society, and they always,
Brazil is full of them too, the ones in the forest. Yeah.
If you can just imagine if you're some sort of, you're a tribe in the modern day, and if a helicopter lands, right off the side of your main center where you live, and tries to communicate with you, obviously, there's no communication that's possible. You try different languages, you try hand signals,
Right.
all that jazz, and they hand you something, you go, what the hell is going on?
Right.
But
Wouldn't you think they're trying to communicate with you then with that? I mean, because that's what it turned out it is. I mean, now,
But
so they went, they retrieved this thing. They tried to blow it up. They had the hazmat guys come out. They had the bomb ordnance people come out, and then they eventually brought it to the lab.
But what I'm trying to say is this tribe outside of wherever the hell it is, some island tribe, they kept throwing spears at the I think it was a helicopter.
Okay. I know that was Brazil. It was a drone.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a drone. They had a drone go over there, and they were looking at it, and they were throwing spears at it. Yes, and pointing at it.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
That's just human behavior, unfortunately.
It is, yeah. We think everything is out to get us.
We're just trying to survive.
Yeah. So
kill it.
Kill it. Yeah. Destroy
Listen, people.
Shoot first, right?
Yeah. Shoot first, ask questions later. Yep.
And there's many stories about alien encounters where people shoot them. Many. We've talked about in the 50s and stuff like that. They pick up the shotguns and just start shooting at them.
Yeah. And there's so many good stories.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember that guy in the woods. the official story is that he saw an owl, which is just fucking stupid.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Owls do show up at these things somehow.
Yeah.
All right, so here I think by now they already picked it up. They brought it to the lab.
Okay,
finally.
great.
The cylinder. It just moved the cylinder across the desert. Eventually, the EOD brought in a containment vessel, picked up the cylinder, placed it in a containment vessel, and then they transported it to the Los Alamos laboratories through Sandia National Laboratories. Now, that meant that they took it to Kirtland Air Force Base, where Sandia National Laboratories was located. Sandia National Laboratories technicians did a cursory inspection of the cylinder, not feeling it was anything radioactive, but couldn't understand anything about the cylinder. They couldn't detect what the cylinder was made of, the materials. So then he decided to transport the cylinder to Los Alamos National Laboratories in Los Alamos, New Mexico. Once it arrived at Los Alamos National Laboratories, it was again thoroughly examined by the Los Alamos National Laboratories. And Los Alamos had advanced equipment to thoroughly examine this. The device was made of an unknown material and plastic-like material. A window was contained in the center portion of the device. A crystal-looking object was in the center. The device did not contain any screws, bolts, external knobs. The device weighed 2.5 pounds and measured 40 centimeters long. When a voice was spoken in close proximity to the device, the center or the crystal portion glowed. Scientists then reasoned the device was a universal translator. Now you think back to what happened at Scion Range.
That's all that. That's all they were trying to do. They're trying to communicate.
Say hi. They're just trying to say hi. Oh no.
I know. Imagine they're probably watching from space, like what they did, like because it was funny. He was talking about how they brought in the hazmat team and the bomb ordnance team, and they shot stuff at it, and nothing would happen, and they put it into this container. They're like, "What is up with these people? We're just trying to say hi."
Did they try throwing spears at it? Because
kind of, we shot a bullet at it.
I know. I'm just saying it's unfortunate that us humans, but it's one of those things. You get scared and you either run, hide, or fight. I mean, that's just how it goes. We're wired that way.
So they were saying that this thing, the thing in the middle was probably a computer, the thing, and then they couldn't turn it on because they needed the alien language to turn it on.
Yeah, I can't stop laughing at that. That's the dumbest. That is so funny. Humans, this is a translator. This will allow us to talk to each other, and they get shot at, and they just run away. They're like, "All right,
it's a bomb! It's a bomb!"
That's so. Oh, that's just so unfortunate.
Yeah, that basically the people representing humanity are complete paranoid. Just everything is the target. Everything's weaponized.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend too much time on this, but here, this is the end. This is a good part too.
Okay.
And in 1999, one of the technicians came forth. He'd gotten out of the Air Force.
I didn't know.
He attended a UFO convention. He approached Wendell Stevens, Lieutenant Colonel, retired Air Force, and told him the story. Well, unbeknownst to Wendell Stevens, the OSI investigator that thoroughly investigated that incident was no other than Richard Doty, me. I was the OSI agent in charge of investigating this incident. I was there. I spoke to the technicians.
Yeah,
and I spoke
you
to
lost me again.
the military police.
I know.
And
this is where I get worried. Okay, now just listen to this next bit now, what he talks about. And after what you said, it got into my mind something else. I'm like, okay, and we can talk about that.
Saw this object coming in on radar. So I was the one that authored the report. I was the one that spoke with EOD, Sandia Labs personnel, and Los Alamos personnel about this device. Now jump to 2022. I had a telephone conversation with a person within the Department of Defense Inspector General's office some weeks ago.
The ICIG office, they call him.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to talk about this incident, which he said was still classified. What I knew wasn't classified. Although he didn't tell me the author of this report, when he started talking about the report, I immediately knew it was my report. When I told him it was my report and that it should be declassified, he said it wasn't. But he said the report that he got was still redacted.
This is what scares me. So it's still redacted. So Doty could be still completely lying because we don't know. We can't see the ICIG can't see the classified report. He's saying that it's still redacted, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yep.
Doty's sitting here saying, well, it should be declassified because the guy came out. The Air Force guy came out. And that's the only area now where I'm now getting really paranoid that maybe Doty's lying.
Yeah, this is why why there's black SUVs parked outside of our door.
Oh, don't say that, man. I'm gonna put an extra camera, I think, on my balcony. That's where I hear all those.
You don't have that already?
I have one on the door. I don't have one on the balcony. No. Where just inside, we're doing the podcast.
No, okay.
There's a disclosure era within the government, but that's obviously there isn't a disclosure. Offices and agencies within the government's not cooperating with each other.
All right, so he's blaming basically interagency issues.
Well,
why not?
And that part is true. I mean, look at the disclosure bill we almost got through.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously some force at work. Look at those dogs.
Well, Richard's always on Disclosure Tonight. I don't know if he's like a producer on or something, but they always have him on, or they're good friends or something. But this here, he tells us that there are 3 new whistleblowers coming forward, and this is why we're sharing this part of the show. Let's take a listen. It's pretty cool, actually, who's coming forward. Might be friends of his.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, more muddying the waters. Man, I hope not, but you never know. So, but let's take a listen. Keep your minds open.
There's 5 new whistleblowers, 5 brand new whistleblowers that have been cleared by the DODIG as whistleblowers. And this is the DODIG. One of them is a U.S. Air Force pilot, flies F-22s. He chased a UAP over Norway in 2010. The UAP made some maneuvers that a conventional aircraft couldn't make, and it also flew so close to him that he could see some lights inside the UAP.
Oh, really?
He was also assisted by F-16s from the Norwegian Air Force. The second whistleblower is a United States Navy SEAL team member. He testified under oath that in 1985 at Tonopah in Nevada, within the Nellis Testing Training Range, SEAL Team 6 was trained in encountering extraterrestrial creatures and given special equipment to disable these ETs. There's also a scientist, a U.S. Air Force research and development scientist who worked for the Air Force Weapons Laboratory from 1974 to 1995. He examined a crashed ET that was found in Nevada during that time frame, 74 to 95. And they actually tried to reverse engineer a small portion of the non-human technology. There's also, I'll leave the best for last, but there's also a U.S. intelligence officer who worked for my agency, Air Force Office of Special Investigations, from 1969 to 1977. He was briefed into the program from 1969 to 1999. He was briefed into the program in 1977, which is a year before I was, and he was involved in an encounter between ETs and non-human intelligence and U.S. Air Force personnel at Loring Air Force Base in Maine.
I love how Thomas is taking this seriously.
And finally, the best for last.
He's trying to anyway.
A senior scientist who worked for DARPA. He also worked for Los Alamos National Laboratories. And he examined a crashed UFO and 2 ET bodies in 1979, August 1979, at Los Alamos National Laboratories. And he went on to talk about other things, but those are the 5 whistleblowers, new whistleblowers, that were cleared back in October of 2020.
How many are we up to now, Rick? Is it 86 or is it more?
It's
more people coming forward.
Yeah. Well, I sure hope, that's true. I just take it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Thanks, Richard, for your clouded history.
The guy got paid to lie to people.
I know. He got to kill himself. Right? Benowitz committed suicide because he was really seeing stuff, and then they lied to him and said no. He was really seeing classified stuff, and they told him no, you're seeing aliens, and they're talking to you or something, and they started anyway, they messed with his mind. The guy committed suicide. It's very sad story. It's
a terrible story.
Yeah. Last week also we ended on the note that the Congress is getting a new classified hearing in a SCIF.
This is the thing. I gotta find my phone so I can do the whole. Wait
a minute, yeah.
Because the aliens are interdimensional, according to this guy.
Yeah, and Luna, and so that is a thing now. They're talking about not extraterrestrials; they're talking about interdimensional. And yes, we've mentioned this many times on the show that it has to be something like that. It takes care of many of the issues of it, of them being from so far away.
Mm-hmm. And why they can fly in and out of water and mountains and all sorts of things.
Exactly. Yeah. They have a way of phasing in and out of this reality and theirs.
Yeah.
So let's hear what their reaction is after the SCIF meeting.
Okay. Did you hear anything that you didn't know? Are you being frustrated by this, like some of your colleagues are?
Well, obviously, look, the process is extremely frustrating, but actually this is the first real briefing that we've had that we've now made, I would say, progress on some of the claims Mr. Grush has made in his complaint and some of the claims he provided to Congress. This is the first time we kind of got a ruling on what the IG thinks of those claims. And so, so this meeting, unlike the one we had previously when we did this briefing, this one actually moved the needle.
Very good. So that'll lead to more public hearings.
I think this one's going to lead to a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of new questions and a lot of new areas to ask and poke in based on what we got in this meeting.
Can you give us a sense of what new questions you have?
Well, right. So let me just give you a hypothetical because I'm not going to share anything from a classified briefing. But if someone makes 10 claims and then someone says, well, we didn't look into all 10 because they weren't all in the report, but hey, we found these 6 very credible based on it. Well, then you would want to go attack those 6. That's what I'm saying. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Huh. See, this is why I don't trust politicians, because if this is all true, and they've heard this stuff, and they're just able to walk out of a boardroom or wherever they're having this meeting, and just be able to carry on a conversation like that,
and a vague one.
Yeah, it's wild to me, because if I heard this stuff, I'd either be running out of the room with my hands raised, punching the air, or I'd be freaked out. I'd be so scared. I'd be just gonna oh my God, no, don't talk to me right now. I can't even speak. They're all reptiles, these people.
Yeah, and it's I mean, they're either lying to us or perpetuating something, or just even just the obfuscation. I mean, that means the truth still is not. We're never gonna get the full picture.
Right. Right.
It's basically they're still coming to us saying nothing. They're just saying,
exactly.
It was confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild to me that they can do that to a camera, to a reporter.
Politicians.
So, did you hear anything in there that moves the needle forward, that changes what you thought before? Are they stonewalling you? Walk us through. What do you know now that you didn't know when you walked in?
I just think what most of the American people fear is true, is that the government, there's a concerted effort to conceal as much information as possible, both from Congress and to the general public. So I asked very specific questions and was unable to get specific answers. And so that's a problem, and we're not going to stop until we get the truth.
So do you think that you're not getting specific answers because they won't tell you, or because they don't know?
Well, I think what you see is a very compartmentalized effort. So by compartmentalizing the information to such a degree that if you don't ask the specific question to the specific person that has that piece of information, so we could take a puzzle with 100 pieces and disseminate it to 47 people. So unless you ask the right person for the right piece of the puzzle, you're not going to get an answer, and that's what's happened here.
Good point. Yeah. So how are we ever going to find out?
Well, there's a way. We're just not allowed to do it.
Oh, Luna. Okay, she's the one who talks about the interdimensional.
I mean, do you hear the same thing with Mr. Krishnamurti?
So this is what I'll say. I'm going to reiterate, we can't talk about specifics and what we got into, but what I can tell you is what Gresh shared with me in an unclassified setting that I firmly believe in. I believe that he's telling the truth. I think that he is a credible witness. And what I can also say is one thing in particular that really caused me to be concerned about this whole thing is that Gresh had stated to myself, Representative Burchett, and another member on the phone that there were people that were hurt hiding this information and keeping this information safe and or trying to come forward with this information. What I can tell you is I believe that claim after now leaving.
How much?
That's all I'll say now.
Do you think that the administration is sending the right people? Do you think that you guys are actually talking to the right people in these classified?
I think that they are sending the correct people on paper. However, there is, and it's become evident that there is an overclassification and that we are continually being stonewalled. My one concern is that we are authorizing money that is supposed to be spent on certain programs, and yet there is compartmentalization in which Congress doesn't have access to oversight in those programs, and that's a problem.
Are you more concerned leaving now than you were going in?
I feel the same. I think that I'm pretty much at the same space that I was. This entire process has been what facts do we have? Again, the credibility of the witnesses is incredibly important, and I think that we have very credible people.
How much of this is the distinction of saying, okay, there are certain programs that we have that are dark programs that we need to be very careful about letting that information out. Some of that can be attributed to what people have said versus this conversation about Grush and some of the claims he made in the open hearing about non-human biologics?
You know, as of right now, we didn't get into the specifics of that in there, but what I will say is that it has become apparent that there is a movement, whether it's within the intelligence community or not, to prevent us from finding out more information on this. And so we are going to do what we need to do as investigators to continue to pull on whatever strings and see where they lead. I think it's incredibly important to listen to the specific words that Gresh uses. You know, Gresh never said extraterrestrial or alien. He said interdimensional. I think that that's incredibly important because those are the types of things that when we go in there, there's just certain things that I think that it's important that you guys listen to on that.
On government funding, quickly, I know you voted yesterday.
It's the whole interdimensional thing again. You know, and it has to be. I'm not saying it's all of them. It's a lot of it.
Yeah,
it just makes more sense. You know.
Yeah,
something on this planet with us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you watched AJ's most recent episode.
No, I haven't. I want to though. Is it good?
It's very good, as always. Man, that guy and his team just kill it. But they talk about UFO bases, USO bases underwater.
Oh wait, yeah, I watched that one. Isn't there a newer one? Or is that?
No, I thought that was the one. Whatever, the most recent one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think there's something else here.
Yeah, it's obvious. And why wouldn't you be in the oceans? It's just it defends you against anything that's happening with the sun. It defends you against asteroids. It hides you from the surface animals, the surface beings.
Well, and like you brought up in the episode, the humans, we know more about space than we do the ocean. We've explored, more of the moon than we have the ocean. It's actually kind of terrifying to think about because it's right next door.
Yeah, and because we can't go deep, our satellites can, and they have scans and really crazy trenches and stuff like that. But yeah, our technology cannot go very deep, even though our Navy and submarines see these things going at what is it, like 3,000 miles per hour underwater, and it's so crazy that they just ignore it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
really quick. Like the giant squid was supposedly a myth, and then we started discovering them.
Yeah,
like what else is down there?
What else is down there? Yeah. We just don't know. It's the majority of the planet.
Yeah.
You know, we sit there, we're like, yeah, we mapped out the world. Yeah, you mapped out 30% of it. That's what you mapped out.
Yeah.
So Grush, I don't know if you heard about this. So he was in New York City. Grush appears to have given a private presentation. This is from UAP James on X. He gave a private presentation of 60 people organized by a quote-unquote Wall Street bigwig. He says an adversary country is considering UFO disclosure to get ahead of the U.S. as well.
Russia. They're talking about Russia.
The non-human intelligence related to UAP looked like the typical gray alien.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. has a UFO craft with a diameter of 40 feet. However, once a person goes inside, it appears to be the size of a football field. The craft is able to produce 1 terawatts of energy.
Yeesh.
I don't even think the entire planet does that. I mean, our energy. Only about 50 people know the full extent of the nature of the UFO phenomenon. Grush remains hopeful for UFO disclosure. So this was an unauthorized picture they took at the event. It was deleted quickly after that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Standard procedure.
Yeah, exactly. And I think even on you sent me this one. David Grush, firsthand experience. He was part of an extremely secret program that figured out how to track and find UAPs in our atmosphere and near Earth orbit.
I mean, it's scary stuff, man. It really is. And I don't like this whole, I mean, I guess I understand it. This whole top secret, secrecy thing. I just, our government works for us. People always forget that, including our own government. They work for us. They need to be telling us everything that's going on.
And they'll say, well, we're weaponizing it to protect you. You know, the problem is the weaponization of this. Why don't you make it to help humanity? Give us free energy, stuff like that. But unfortunately, it's not. It's made for global hegemony.
Yeah.
And that goes for all of them, right? I mean, China, Russia, all they want to do is weaponize this.
It's just all so frustrating.
Yeah, so he was doing that, and then TMZ had their UFO Revolution to expose the biggest cover-up in history. So it's a 3-part series. I did not watch even one.
I didn't either. With TMZ, it's tough because it's all about chasing. It's about they're chasing stories that don't matter to most people. This one is a big one.
Yeah. So it's on Tubi for free. People can watch it now. What came out of that is that's been going crazy, right? You saw the jellyfish.
Yeah, this is a really, really weird one to me. I mean, this might be the most. I mean, this is high strangeness. This is stuff you just can't explain.
Yeah, and this is out of a base in Iraq. This is FLIR.
It's FLIR footage, and it's this jellyfish looking like thing. I don't know. Is this a UFO? Is this an alien? It's so hard to explain. But apparently, so floating across this base. That's on film, and apparently it sat in the water for 20 minutes or whatever, and then just left, and they couldn't find it.
It took off, he said. I think, he probably Corbell mentions it right here, I think. Can we just turn it up?
I was able to find direct eyewitnesses and corroborate that this event did happen. When individuals would target in on it with the optics, the way it was described, each of these hanging things, they were stiff, like they weren't moving. They had geometric form, like scales, what was said to be scales, like an armor. There were also people with night vision who were out, and they were tasked to go look for it. Couldn't see it on the night vision. Only in the thermal spectrum could it be seen.
So only in the infrared, which our eyes can't see.
Right. It's such bizarre footage. I highly recommend our listeners to turn into viewers and go watch this, because I mean, this thing, I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, it kind of looks like a jellyfish, but it doesn't. What I mean? It's just
when you and I were talking off by message with this. We mentioned that it could be just interdimensional, and this is how it looks like in our dimension. Now we're seeing just a little part of it, like a shadow of it. Oh, here he talks about how it was in the water.
It goes out over a body of water. I'm told it stops on a dime, descends into the water, stiff into the water. And for 17 minutes, nothing. And boom, this thing comes up out of the water and shoots off at 45 degrees, just like that.
Just like that. Yeah. Where's the image? Where's the video of that, though?
Yeah, I know, right? That's just so frustrating about all this.
So this is from 2009 in Turkey, in the forest of Turkey. Have you seen this?
Like the bird?
No. I think that's why they changed the spelling of the country, right?
Yeah.
It used to be Turkey. I think they made it Turkiya or something.
It used to be Constantinople.
Okay, fine. Yes, Constantinople until the Ottomans took it over, and then it was the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, I thought I was going to get you with that one, but
well, there's a movement within some fringes of Muslim society that want. Yeah, they want to give it back, saying that it was really bad for Muslims to do that, to take it over and make it into a mosque. Because in Islam, Jesus is highly respected, and the Virgin and Mary, right, Mother Mary.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why there's a movement saying just give it back. We weren't supposed to take it over. So look at this thing.
Oh, I can't wait.
On live TV. Wait, where is it? Let me turn it down. Here it is.
So we're looking at snowy trees right now, people. I'm
weird
waiting. It's like blue. Does it move?
Yeah, it does. This is from a helicopter. And someone will say it's balloons. I think it's 2009.
I'm getting so sick and tired of seeing balloons used as the excuse for everything.
Oh, it's the new one, dude. It's the new swamp gas, and
yeah, exactly.
It's always used now. Oh, it's a balloon. Hey, come on, why isn't that moving? Wait. There it is.
Oh yeah.
Look at it morph.
What the hell?
They're screaming.
Yeah, that's super weird. It's clearly balloons, though.
But see the appendages?
Oh, yeah, man. It's like the same thing as a jellyfish thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's in the visual spectrum, though.
It's clearly swamp gas.
Huh?
Wow, that's something else. I didn't realize there was the only thing that's really different is I don't know. Hard to say.
The appendages are the same. The top is like top heavy, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say the appendages keep moving, but maybe it's just the camera view and how it's seen it. But creepy.
Look at that, it goes up in the sky again. You could say it's a bunch of balloons, but
I don't know.
They're changing. Look at these guys, their faces.
Yeah, he probably is great at poker.
Man, I'm the worst poker player.
Very, very interesting footage. That's definitely swamp gas mixed with Venus, mixed with balloons. Wow.
Bye. But yeah, but it acts like balloons, like slowly ascending like that. But that's weird.
I mean, I get that it acts like balloons, but I mean, it doesn't even really act like balloons.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. No. Great footage, dude.
What else did people? So did you see this? That now there's an entity that they see in there.
Yeah, it's the spaghetti monster god.
There he is. Do you see him? He's looking.
Yeah.
Spaghetti monster guy.
Have you heard? You've heard of Pastafarian, right?
No. Who?
You haven't heard of Pastafarian?
The
spaghetti monster god.
Oh yeah, spaghetti monster god. Yeah,
that's the name of the religion is Pastafarian.
Oh yeah, Pastafarian. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I do know.
Okay.
So apparently, it's a being right in there.
I honestly, I don't know if I buy that.
I mean, yeah, it's weird.
I mean, if that's true, it's interesting. Like the drawing, for instance. I don't know.
Look at him though.
Wait. Thermal. It was filmed on.
I don't know.
And why would he be looking at the camera like that? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's whatever that thing is called when you can see
pareidolia or
yeah. When you see faces in random objects.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those because this footage, obviously, it's FLIR, like we said, but I don't know if you can zoom in and say, "I see
just said spaghetti monster."
Yeah, see,
the
Pastafarians. No, I'm kidding.
A marine who worked on the base in Iraq tells me he saw the full 17-minute jellyfish UFO video. He says the Marines nicknamed it the spaghetti monster. Michael Stinkowski says he worked in intelligence surveillance reconnaissance, and that the video is from 2017, not 2018.
No, man.
Yeah.
That means he's a total spook.
There in the video that we haven't seen.
Not a whole lot. All I can say about that is towards the end, it seemingly just continued off into the distance, and it got smaller and smaller. Whether that's because the sensor was zooming out or it was moving off into the distance, but it got seemingly far enough away to where they couldn't see it anymore, whether it dropped into the water or it just continued over the lake, because there's a lake next door of the base that we were at. But at no point towards the end of the video did where you could see it drop into the water and then shoot off into the sky like there had been some claims. That never happened.
Did you think
never
when
happened.
you watched it for the first
Did
time?
you hear that? So what
like,
Jeremy Corbell said, this guy said it never happened.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
well,
that's what makes it weird. Going in the water and then shooting off into space is what makes it really weird. I mean, yes, this is weird too, but
and Jeremy Corbell has never claimed or said anything that's really weird. Straight up guy. He hasn't threatened to jiu-jitsu anybody.
No, he hasn't. No. and I'm at 50-50 with Corbell too, just like I am with Doty.
Yeah, I'm very Corbell likes to make himself part of the UFO thing.
Oh yeah, he's done it now with TMZ. He's like the star.
Yeah. I mean, and I've never once seen a documentary that features the person who made the documentary, and then Corbell does it every single documentary. It's pretty crazy.
Time.
He's the main character in every documentary he's made.
Yeah. It is weird footage. Of course, the Mick West and all those guys are trying to say that's Eid balloons, like Happy Eid.
I just don't know. This footage is so weird.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not balloons. And especially that's in the IR. There's people down here don't even see it or hear it or nothing.
Yeah. I don't think it's an alien driving some sort of craft like the drawing wants to admit. I think I just think it's something. Well, it's not that.
No, but there's so I saw this in Iraq even when I was there in 2000, from 2004 to 2000. This thing was always in the air.
Yeah, this is a drone before drones existed.
Exactly, and that's what all these cameras are here. So this thing captured what we're watching.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
weird.
That's what he's saying.
Very weird.
So, pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, very crazy.
Anyway, it's fun. It's a fun mini series to go watch. It's all about Corbell.
Of course.
No, I'm just kidding. But that's when he gets. There's a chandelier UFO too. Have you seen that one? So
yeah,
that was
yes, I have.
I don't have that queued up or anything, but it's basically just an image of a chandelier looking again in IR, so our eyes can't see it, but our infrared sensors can.
I mean, that's the thing that really stands out to me. Eyes can't see it, but IR can. That's so weird.
Yeah, and, that's why it goes back again to like the jinn or some other species that shares this planet with us that we can't see. It's not like this is not new. Humanity has been living with this for a long time. Now we just have sensors that pick them up.
Exactly.
Instead of religion and myth.
Well, and I don't know, I don't know if we've talked about this or not, but like what a biblical angel looks like, and they're terrifying, and it's those kind of things where where did that come from? That sort of knowledge of jinns, like you mentioned, or angels and demons, it comes from somewhere. It's not. I guess it's just a belief. I don't believe that it's just made up.
Yeah, I mean, humans are the same across all timelines. And we can't say that because they lived back then they're dumb. No, you have to put yourself in there. You're seeing things. You're trying to make sense of them. Just how we're trying to make sense of things. We're talking about interdimensional now. It's just because we have a word for it, and as science, scientific theories for this, which wasn't back then. It was like, oh, God made them, so they're supernatural kind of thing.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So Dolan was unweaponized. It was amazing. They let him talk. Corbell let him talk, which was amazing. It was mostly George and Dolan talking, which was great to see. That George Knapp would ask some questions, but there's some great clips here. There's one here. He talks about the U.S. government, how he doesn't trust it anymore. Here,
some sympathy for them, yes.
So he was asked here by George Knapp, like, do you have sympathy for them for covering this up? So he answers him here.
Gotcha.
Always kind of have, but I also don't. I mean, let me qualify it. So if you are in the military establishment, your duty is to protect your national security. That's your job. And these objects, although they haven't done an Independence Day scenario, they haven't blown up anything overtly, they have at times caused problems, which maybe we can discuss some of that, but there hasn't been like an obvious destructive attack, a systematic destructive attack. There have been, negative encounters from time to time. There's been damage done and interference done to U.S. military weapon capability, communications capability. That's all happened. But it hasn't been like they've been out there on the attack so much as seemingly observing. So on that basis, ordinary people might just think, well, they're not doing anything dangerous. But if you're in the military, you cannot accept that. Your job is to make sure that your airspace is secure, your systems are secure, and so forth. And so they have to be very careful. And then on top of that, let's go into the crash retrieval scenario. So we can pretty confidently say that the U.S. military has acquired exotic technology that does not come from here. 10 years ago, you couldn't really make that statement as confidently out in the open, but I think we all kind of understand, yes, it's obviously true. So if that's happened, they're protecting not simply alien tech, but they're protecting 75 plus years of their own research into anti-grav, into material science, into propulsion and whatever. And whatever one thinks about international geopolitics, whatever one thinks about Russia or China, the fact is the United States has a very adversarial relationship with those nations. And the military does not ever wish to expose that. It would be like if the president were to say, yes, this is real, they're here. There are so many implications that follow from that statement, eventually leading to what is the status of your technological development that you have been working on all these years? And it just threatens to expose that. So that's not something that they're ever going to be willing. On the other hand, on the same time, it's no one wants to admit in an era where you're never supposed to believe in conspiracies anymore. No more conspiracy theories for the U.S. government, which is having a very difficult time maintaining credibility in much of the world these days. For the U.S. government to say, you don't believe in those conspiracies, well, except this biggest one of all time. That one's true. The UFO, but don't believe in the others. Like, that's a bad look. No, but now where I'm not sympathetic is, even from the military's perspective here, is I don't trust the United States government anymore. I don't have trust in its goodwill. I don't have trust in its desire to do good in the world. I just don't. And in the old days, I might have thought, well, it's a complicated world out there. But I don't see that. So what I see is that the United States is the global fire starter. It's my opinion. People can agree or not with that. And so I don't really have a lot of sympathy for the secrecy being maintained by a system that I actually have come to feel is malignant, rather than neutral.
Gee, I wonder how Trump got
in the
elected.
past.
What?
I wonder how Trump got elected.
I know, right? Yeah, that's exactly why he got like because most of the populace were sick of it too. And he was a symptom of that.
Exactly.
Not saying anything about the guy, just saying that it was a vote against the system is what happened.
And people are still sick of it.
Yeah, and the system reacted, and we all saw the reaction, and then the whole 2020 election and COVID and all that. I mean, it's just
it's interesting because we're still going through that, and people in government can't seem to understand that we want our government to tell us the truth, especially about this kind of stuff. We
look at him.
Yeah,
he can't handle it. He said that.
Yeah,
and he'll say it too in a way, which is him, Tom DeLonge. They're trying to give excuses. Well, they're trying to tell basically like, let's give these people immunity. It's okay. They lied. Blah blah blah. It's okay. Let's just forget about it. But the thing is, they're not moving on. They're still keeping it a secret. They're not giving us disclosure. So there's no goodwill there.
I mean, hell, look at our quote unquote intelligence agency. All these people they're just trained to lie. It's nuts, man. It's infuriating because we all know they're lying. And what the hell?
And they know that we know they're lying.
Yeah, what the hell are we supposed to do about it? It's so frustrating. I'm actually kind of angry right now. What are we going to do? Right? We can't do anything.
No, legally we can't.
Yeah,
I mean, unless they rescind these acts like national security or heavily updated. Where it's not so Cold World era. Some things can be disclosed. It's okay. You can't have this truth embargo on reality, right? What Steve Bassett says.
Yeah,
and that's what it is. A truth embargo on reality, keeping most of the populace stuck in like the 1950s. When it comes to science, even philosophy, and just the ideas of humanity, all that is just we're still stuck in that era.
Yeah.
So, but this is a great interview. It's so many clips. I think here's at the end, he says some really powerful things. Also, Dolan's great, man.
Yeah, he's something else. He is good.
He's got the whole big picture thing. He doesn't have any filters to the truth about our government and the deep state. That's the thing about Corbell is like he's always trying to still protect the deep state in a way.
Yeah,
he gives excuses.
He's an interesting character for sure.
But maybe that's why he gets these leaks, quote unquote leaks.
I don't know. I keep going back and forth if Corbell's an agent or not.
Yeah,
I don't know what to think.
It's hard.
He brings a lot of stuff to the public, but I mean, I don't like the guy personally, just based on what I've seen. I think ultimately, and like I've said before in the show, I think ultimately he's doing good, but he sucks at it.
Yeah, we've said this before, and you've used it as a net positive, and he gets more audience. The TMZ thing is going to get a new audience. But these are all newbies that don't really understand like the geopolitics behind this, and the empire building behind on this secret.
Yeah,
but it's good to have Dolan on because Dolan has that information for those people who are interested.
Yeah, I like Dolan.
Yeah,
we're going to let the public know about everything that's going on. It's too much.
Yep.
I mean, think back to the mentality of the 1950s, which we were not around. Well, maybe I don't know. 1950s was a different world, and think of the understanding that people had of this phenomenon at that time. Very basic. Look at the movies, men from another planet in metal spaceships. And I mean, it's kind of goofy. And we look back and we think, well, there was no sense of the high strangeness. There was no sense of quantum anything. There's no sense of particular ways of warping space-time to propulsion. They didn't have that and that was only just a couple of generations ago. So could that generation, adults of the 1950s, could they have really been dipped into the real full reality of what's going on? Probably not. What makes us think that we can? Are we we probably have a more sophisticated grasp than they did. But how much more? Maybe a little bit more. But what if, our grandparents were at this level, we're at this level, but what if the actual level of reality is like way, way, way up there, and we're just not there yet? So it might be difficult. On the other hand, I don't want to overstate that. I tend to think that we are developing a very good ability.
So he talks about the whole fourth industrial revolution, but he thinks that these beings or these others have guided us this way because if they want a planet or they want to take over a planet, then they want it to have their type of technology and civilization, like a hive mind, AI kind of thing. So he's saying that the whole WEF agenda and all that, the globalists and social credit system is CBDCs, and he's saying that it's these others doing this just so they can live here comfortably and take over. In a way,
it's a really scary thought because you don't know what the outcome is at the end.
Yeah, and maybe that's why they gifted things, right? Because they know eventually it will lead to this type of civilization because they went through that. Their species went through the same thing, so they know where it's going. So anyway, great interview. He has amazing insights as usual. And is Corbell again?
Yeah, shocker. This guy seems to show up in UFO lore all the time for some reason.
So new David Grush interview, Fear the Beard. David Grush shares if he has any regrets going public. Grush and Corbell also discuss the Intercept hit piece and his past struggles being in the public spotlight. Grush says some UFO insiders were inspired to go public after he did, and others were discouraged. Oh, this is from Mike Colangelo on X. Overall, Grush and Corbell like the direction everything is headed and think the truth will come out eventually.
Oh man, I sure hope so.
This is 6 minutes. I don't know if we need to listen to all of it, but he has the beard, and that private event in New York. The pictures showed he had a beard, so that was looks like it was around the same time. But they're friends. Why does it say mental here?
On a shirt.
nice choice of a shirt there.
He's just God. He always is sitting in the same place. Like he's got the safe behind him and everything.
Yeah. Remember who asked him about the safe? He's like, "What safe?" Oh wait, who was that on? Russell Brand.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
He's like, "So what do you have in this safe?" There, he's like, "What safe?" And what? I forget. That was like a few episodes ago. We covered it. Oh, man,
he's probably in some sort of studio, and they've got it dressed up like it's his house or something.
A green screen.
Yeah.
So let's see if there's anything we can get out of this.
Yeah, well, it's heading into the winter, and I like to keep my face warm when it's windy here out in Colorado. So
I just want to call you, man, and just kind of ask, how's it been going since you talked in front of Congress?
Slow and steady. I mean, there's some congressional interactions that I'm a part of right now behind the scenes. Looks like there's still momentum, but based on world events recently, hopefully that doesn't distract from this process.
Israel.
Yeah, so for you, is there any moment where you've kind of regretted speaking up? You kind of had to, right?
Yeah, I mean, I saw that was the, course of action I had to do. I mean, I don't, regret it. It's, I didn't want to live in the matrix when there's stuff like this that's being, hidden from the world populace. There were certain colleagues of mine that were brutally administratively attacked. And it, actually makes me very upset as a leader to see that happen to other coworkers.
I was talking with the guys earlier today, and we talked a little bit about reprisals, not just the ones that are private, but the public ones, when they were attacking and the Intercept and shit like that. We're just talking about how hard that must be to kind of navigate all that, but you've done a good job, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's always hard to, look at what the armchair quarterbacks and, people who don't even know you want to say about you, so...
Yeah. Like who?
Were they human or non-human?
I know, right? And all those hit pieces. I think here it's just about, he's doing this for the people, for transparency.
Yeah, no, it was a joke. Armchair quarterbacks are essentially what we're doing right now. That's
Is it? Oh, well, I guess
that's
an armchair quarterback, would be like you're not doing it the right way. Do it this way.
right. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah, that's all I was. That was it was a joke that didn't land apparently.
Exactly. I know what I uncovered with high confidence, and I'm just here to hold the government accountable publicly because I felt that deep conviction. But buckle up. I guess we'll see if there's any bumps in the road. I am driven by a commitment of both to truth and.
All right, sounds very sensational. The
Yeah.
video.
Now, once
Yeah,
again,
go
I'm
ahead.
like, I'm glad Corbell is doing what he's doing, but man, how this guy is the main character in his own story. Like,
He is.
just it's unreal. It makes and there's a lot of people like this. It's just the way it goes. But we have a new story right here. Exclusive, former DGSE intelligence chief Elaine Juliet on UFOs.
So yeah, she's the friend. Oh wait, Elaine. Is that a guy or a chick? I don't know.
I don't know the answer to that.
But it's definitely he or she is French intelligence about and she's interviewed by UAP Czech. So here, yeah, she says some quotes. You want to read them?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. I'd love to read. What is terrible about unidentified objects, flying or otherwise, is that these are systems. You know what? I don't want to read them. I take it back.
Is it too small?
No, yeah, it is. Hold on. I gotta move my computer.
Let me fix this. Let me fix this. Let's do this. Wait a minute.
What is terrible about unidentified objects, flying or otherwise, is that these are systems against which our armies are incapable of responding.
Yep.
We are faced with something we do not control, and that's very, very serious, because it means that since we do not master them, if they decided to attack. They would cut through us like butter. So it poses an enormous problem in terms of national security in every country.
Right, and that's probably a lot to do with the secrecy.
Yeah, definitely.
So, according to Elaine Juliet, the most interesting characteristic these objects demonstrate is not zigzag flying, but their ability to enter into the water without slowing down. They continue underwater, then they come back out. We have a large number of testimonies on unidentified submerged objects, craft that move under the water at absolutely incredible speeds. In the observations of such craft, we have noticed that when they come out of the water, there's no trace of water. They are as if within a bubble. Now, listen to this one. It somewhat reminds us of the Russians, who have a high-speed torpedo that works like that. It creates a sort of plasma bubble around the torpedo, which means it no longer travels through water, but through a bubble that isn't water, but plasma.
Wow.
They are the only ones who know how to do that currently, and this torpedo is formidable, but that we're discussing here is much faster. We have testimonies, and we know that there's no country capable of doing this today.
That's crazy. That's really scary, actually.
That the Russians have that? Yeah, it is scary.
Yeah.
The force field, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's true that if we told people there are craft crossing the sea, we don't know where they come from or where they're going, perhaps there's something else on Earth besides us, people would panic, so it's better to say nothing.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What? Would people really panic? Would you panic if you heard Russia's got this and yada, yada, yada? I mean, I'd be.
No.
I wouldn't be concerned, but
my worldview will change, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. I mean, it might last a week. Wow, fucking deal with it.
Yeah,
or a
exactly.
week of people going crazy and asking questions. Deal with it. I mean, things don't change. Don't stay the same. There. Oh, I don't know if you want. There's a live report here. So it's from a pilot. and this is him contacting FAA.
Yeah, this was really interesting.
Yeah, so and now Congress just passed something where that give pilots a way to report these. So yeah, let's listen to this. It might not be really easy to listen to, what I remember.
Yeah, it's
yeah, it's like, noise. You know how it is when you pilots. Here, let me turn it off.
At about 6,800 feet. You said it was 30 feet tall? It was pretty tall, probably about 30 feet tall. It was going opposite direction of us.
Okay.
November 024, was it moving at a fast pace? It was moving like affirmative for 3024.
It takes time, huh, between each.
Yeah. 024, we're starting our descent. November 02.
We're starting our descent.
I was going to say,
what does the object look like? Kind of hard to describe. It was just tall and pointy. Like a triangle? It was in the shape of a triangle. It was bottom and flat on top. Not sure what it is. Do you have a picture of it?
You have a picture of it?
The 3024 did not appear to be any danger.
Is that too fast?
Cherokee 024, and that object was about 300 feet from you? It was pretty far away from us. Just noticeable enough to concentrate on it.
Yeah, that's too fast.
Roger.
I thought it was okay.
Cherokee 30024, do you got a number that we can reach yet, just in case my supervisor needs to talk to you?
It's just crazy to me that all of these people who fly airplanes always seem to run into these objects.
And they're not ridiculed anymore. I mean, it was the ridicule that stopped them. Like, oh, look at that. I'm not going to say anything. So I'll get fired.
Yeah. It's again, just super frustrating.
It is. Now this, taken by NASA's lunar orbiter.
Yeah, you sent me this. That looks like Homer Simpson to me.
I see it. That's hilarious.
Just more weird stuff on the moon.
Yeah, look at that shadow. So remember that spider-like being that came out of that one live stream. So there's that again, but it's officially from NASA.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. I mean, what the hell is if you go back to the first photo, I mean, what the hell is that doing on the moon?
So it's organic.
So it's a spike. People who are listening, I mean, it even has a shadow and everything. So either there's something there, or I don't know. This is one hell of a Photoshop.
No, and you can go see it. They link the official NASA. Here it is. For the debunkers, here is the direct link from the university responsible for the NASA images for this project. There it is.
What the hell?
I don't know, man. So here's a video of them zooming in on the actual image.
I don't know what to think.
Here it is.
So we have a moon base, or why else would that be there?
Yeah, I mean, many conspiracy theories have said that we've been warned off the moon, and that's why we never went back, right? And then there's been many that have said that Apollo said we were followed by big craft, and I think we did that last week. It was that the phone? Someone was sitting next to Buzz in the other room, and she heard them talking about this, and then he denied it.
It's so bizarre. I honestly I don't know what to think.
Yeah.
Just crazy stuff, man.
The moon itself is weird. Like, there's many books written about it.
Oh yeah. Don't even
so many. Yeah, and how it's responsible for life on here. If it wasn't there, then life would be different. And it's how many civilizations mark the calendar. Like, the lunar calendars are in Chinese, the Jewish, the Muslims. Who else does the moon? But I think many civilizations use the moon for our monthly calendar.
Yeah, I mean, the moon is in charge of our tides.
Yeah, and the tides.
Yeah, it's just it's the whole thing.
Yeah, and if you think about the gravitational pull of it, and I think I remember watching documentaries that has a lot to do with DNA too. How the formation of DNA. That it has to do with that too. That we wouldn't have DNA if it wasn't for the moon.
Well, and if you want to go like deep conspiracy, we didn't have a moon for a long time.
Yes. That one, yeah, before the moon. That there are people on this planet that said before the moon, this happened. So that it was like parked there. Something came here, parked it there.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite theories. I don't know if it's true or not. But yeah, just something showing up in the night sky would be pretty damn wild.
Yeah, and well, there's so many anomalies with it, right? How large it is, that it's
Right.
static, like it we only see one side of it. What else? That it's hollow, right?
Yeah. Oh
Or
man.
supposedly hollow.
Yeah.
So
There are so many theories about the moon. I don't know. And now people are finding, and when you mentioned Buzz,
yeah.
I mean, these people all saw really weird things, and I don't know what the hell.
Dude, remember that, like when they came back from the moon landings, how depressed they look?
Yeah.
The first press conference, they were all depressed. Like
I think we shared that on the show, right?
yeah, like they were defeated.
Yeah.
Instead of like celebrating what they did.
I know. You'd think it'd be like one of those things where you won the Super Bowl and you come
No.
running back in, and then they're sitting at this table with their heads down and just being
so
like,
weird.
"Yeah, we were there."
Yeah.
It's the moon.
Something weird happened there. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So now Lockheed's secret UFO crash retrieval program exposed by whistleblower. This is a whistleblower. This is on Redacted.
Yeah.
Obviously, but I mean, this just came out.
Does Lockheed Martin have its own alien recovery team? You heard me right. A team that gets a phone call, goes out, and recovers downed UFOs. A whistleblower at Lockheed Martin has now come forward to our next guest with stunning details about Lockheed's secret alien recovery program and reverse engineering program. But this whistleblower went on to claim, this is where it gets even more bizarre, that a Lockheed reproduction craft crashed in Nevada in 2004. At the same time, it was also being tracked by JSOC, which of course is the Joint Special Operations Command. They both descended on this crash site at the same time, and a firefight ensued where two members of JSOC were killed, according to this whistleblower. That Lockheed whistleblower came forward to our next guest, Jon Stewart, former candidate for Congress in the office of Illinois governor. Joining us today on Redacted is that former guest.
Oops. What's happening here?
Oh no. We're stuck in a loading screen, people.
Oh no. So anyway, we won't spend too much time on this because it just came out anyway.
Redacted, who created a shockwave the last time he was on, talking, of course, about the
experiencing interruptions. Yes, I am.
Oh no.
But isn't that nuts?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, but a fight, seriously. I mean, the government can just go and destroy Lockheed Martin. Like, I don't understand. I mean, fine. Even if they fund congressmen and senators, and that doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they get away with that.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me.
Well, let's see what this guy says. Maybe. You like that?
Yeah, his face. Oh man.
And they also developed their own recovery team. So this team, listen to me very closely, folks, so that this team could pounce on their Lockheed craft that they reproduced that might have crashed, so the government didn't get it. Does that make sense? So we've created this really advanced extraterrestrial-esque craft. We've lied to the government about it because we're going to hide this and just use it for our own good, for whatever that is. And if this crashes, we need to recover it before the government recovers it.
So
the story is crazy.
I don't think because we've talked about this before, and I do believe it's truth. Our government is like 50 years ahead of normal culture in the world. I don't know. I question this a lot.
I mean, it's a policy too, right? The government has that policy.
Yeah.
So anything we see, AI, cryptocurrency, all that, they've already figured that out way before, and that's because of planning purposes. So they don't there's no shock, or they're not surprised. And
right, exactly.
Yeah, but that's their official policy, to be 50 years ahead of the world.
And so, can you see government, the U.S. government, getting into a firearms fight with a company over some sort of aircraft?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the government. They have they have a monopoly on force.
Yep.
So that company would be gone. I don't care how connected. Yeah, I don't care how connected they are.
Right, they would disappear. It would just be like, oh,
Right. Yeah, we're gonna tear you up into a million pieces
and spread you to the wind.
Yep. Look at this.
Poor
China
JFK.
develops Star Wars style defector plasma shield to defend drones. It reminds me of the Russian what do you call it? Their torpedoes.
Yeah, this is pretty wild.
According to Chinese news sources, Chinese scientists have allegedly harnessed plasma to develop a working energy shield for drones and other military tech.
Man, this is scary if true.
Well, see, the thing is what they said is China does not overclassify this issue, and it's an open secret, I guess. It's freely shared with the scientific community in China, and that's why they're doing this stuff. We might have it, fine, but I'm just saying, like, if they ever beat us or go ahead of us, it's because it's not stove piped, and it's shared with the scientific community to to advance it. They keep saying, "Oh, it's advancing really slow." I mean, if scientists can't talk to each other, and coordinate, it's not going to advance. That's just how things work, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it goes here. Chinese scientists have allegedly developed an energy shield to protect some of its military assets, the South Morning Post reports. Utilizing a special kind of plasma, the energy shield is designed to resist potentially harmful microwaves from damaging delicate electronics. If the claims of its existence are true, the new shield is a significant leap in directed energy technology, especially in the ongoing aerial to anti-aerial arms race.
Woof. Well, at least we've got our Space Force to help us out.
And many people say that's why Trump did it. It's like trying to force the secret to come out,
right?
Where it's not just in the Air Force anymore,
or the Navy,
or the Navy. The United States has already put into use equipment such as the active denial system, the Vigilant Eagle system, cruise missile carrying high power microwave warhead.
This is Star Wars from Reagan all over again.
Yeah, and maybe that stuff was maybe now that technology is coming out because that was the 80s, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So we're talking about almost 50 years now. Well, 20 and 24.
Oh man,
I know.
I'm getting old,
dude. We are. And what's this now? Oh, this is a mainstream article on the whole Miami thing. Remember last week?
Yeah, that was super weird. God, so many cops.
And but what this article is saying, the Miami police came out. Where is it? They're saying instead of an alien invasion, a huge group of juveniles were being dealt with by the large police fleet, who allegedly were also setting off fireworks, causing panic across the mall. An arrest report said, according to the outlet.
Right. Do you remember when you were 13 and you set off a bunch of fireworks and 5,000 police
100 cop cars?
Yeah, just so dumb.
It was 100 plus cop cars.
What a crazy, those videos that were coming out were just nuts.
Yeah. Miami Police Department later confirmed on X that the sounds were fireworks and no shots were fired.
So 100 of them had to show up.
Yeah, I know, right? Around 10 or 15 juveniles were also seen by police assaulting a man nearby. Again, why 100 cop cars? Is it because it was New Year's?
I mean, we have videos to prove it. It's not, we're not just making that up. Like, I just don't understand. None of this story makes any sense.
It's such a weird story. But, finally the media picked up. And it's saying that 4 teenagers are expected to appear in juvenile court on Wednesday. It's juveniles, 100 plus cop cars, helicopters. they said they didn't shut off the electricity. That's apparently they're saying that's not true.
Jeez. Okay. None of this story adds up.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But I mean, I think it's just going to be memory hold. It looks like people aren't talking about it anymore.
It's going to be the Brazil thing all over again.
Yeah, so we thought that it was probably military tech that they were testing out, like holograms, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Or interdimensional beings that just found themselves at the mall.
I just, I don't know. I've had a few interactions with the cops, and I've never seen that sort of reaction to fireworks ever.
No, or a fight. Yeah, okay, fine. Maybe 7. Say 7. Okay, 10.
Yeah.
10 cars, for a fight, but 100.
I mean, it was just ridiculous. They were clearly concerned about something else, or they thought it was, I don't know, or maybe Miami, Florida has changed their policy where they have to send every single thing that they have to, to shut down whatever was going on.
Yeah. To any problem happening, send the entire fleet of cars we have.
Yeah, I mean, It was absurd. Yeah,
it was absurd, and that's why people are questioning. And then it's not helpful when Miami police say, "Oh, it's okay, it's just because of juveniles."
Set off fireworks.
Set off fireworks, yeah, and they were harassing people. I mean, do you need that much of a presence for that?
Right? And yeah, right. Hey.
Very strange.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that makes conspiracy theorists go wild, and this is. I mean, just use your brain for a second. None of this adds up.
And speaking of conspiracy theorists, so this guy right here, he was in Harvard for 30 years studying. He was a climate scientist. He was producing papers on the climate. So he's finished. He's retired, and he went on Tucker Carlson and told him that basically the whole CO2 thing is complete BS. He tried to prove it right, and he couldn't for 30 years. And he's saying that it's the sun. The sun controls our climate. What a surprise!
Yeah, shocker. The elder god that sits, 3 planets away.
Exactly, a star. We have a literal star right there that either gives us life or doesn't. And we can see it with the turning of the seasons. When it's winter, we have no crops, right? So let's take a listen to him. He's really funny.
You know that in even grade school sciences, CO2 is a gas of life. When you have more CO2, the plant kingdom, the whole ecology, even the oceans, gonna have more, basically ability, more fishes, more everything, more life, essentially. That's why it's called gas of life. And these people want to demonize it as some gas that can cause global warming, can cause hurricane to run faster or weaker. I don't know what they want. To have more rain, more droughts, and all this other nonsense that they claim. All of that, it just ain't so. That's the problem. By the way, this is how serious I am. I check everything they say. I check. As a scientist, you cannot just dismiss that. You cannot laugh at them. You cannot, chide them. You cannot just make joke of them. You check everything. So as a very serious scientist, and I publish scientific paper refuting all of these arguments. Scientific papers maybe mean nothing to the average people, but it's really important. It's like a document that you have to document and then put out the proper scientific arguments about what is right, what is wrong. So that's what we have been doing at my particular center called series-sign.com. So anybody who wants more information about this, please go to the website, right? And study what we do there, because we are the one that is truly independent from any funding agency, any money that you could possibly give me. Like Bill Gates, please don't give me money. Thank you. Al Gore, please don't give me money. Don't give me any money if you tell me what to do. Even some of your money, I might not want it. But the point is that I want to be independent, just like you. In the media, I want to be fearless. I just set my own agenda. You don't tell me what to research either. I research what I want to research. So we've been researching on many, many topics. So on the climate change issue, I'm fully convinced. After all these years, even though we may not know exactly what is causing climate change, we suspect it's the sun. We have a lot of evidence to show that it's probably the sun. Very high percentage, I would say 90% was sure, but not 100%.
Or 100%.
We know carbon dioxide is not the gas, it's not the what you call your thermometer in your room. can adjust up and down, that you can set the temperature to be whatever level you want it. First of all, they can never tell us what temperature do they want it at. What is the temperature you want to set the global temperature? Al Gore has not been able to answer that. John Kerry has not been able to answer that. Because we know the temperature from the coldest in Siberia to the desert in Sahara. I mean, these are huge, at least 100 degrees or more kind of differences. Yes. I mean, who are you to tell me which temperature is the correct temperature where you guys are talking like that? They are talking as if they are pseudo-God, they're God themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, these people are so ambitious that in some sense, I think we have to keep their ambition down a little bit. I mean, these people are not contented, just like what you put out there. If you cannot be ambitious when you're contented, but these people are so out of their mind in some sense that I think is misleading. And somebody had to speak out against them. I think you are one of those who consistently point out their hypocrisy, right? And I really find that the whole problem of this global warming is a complete nothing, which means we should do nothing about it. Just go on and live life and adapt to it, right? So
yeah, sorry, man, that's not profitable. It's
well, okay,
yeah.
I don't really think CO2 is doing damage to the planet, but I do think there's a lot of stuff that we are doing to the planet that's bad.
Yeah,
garbage, dumping oil in the seas. I mean,
yeah. Sorry,
yeah,
what?
no, I just but yeah, CO2 is that's not the thing that's killing us.
No, it's the star that we have right next to us that goes through cycles, and when there's a low sun cycle, it gets cold, and there's a high sun cycle, it gets warm.
Yeah, and I remember being a kid and going to the national park close to where I lived, and they were saying, "Oh, these glaciers won't be here by the year 2010," and then it was, "Oh, you're not going to be able to see the." It doesn't matter.
Yeah. The glaciers. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The signs, people making fun. They had signs there saying in a few years this won't be here anymore. I think they removed the sign.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, okay, what are we doing here?
I mean, and that's what so it's a scam. It's a scam to extract more wealth from people. Other people are saying that it's a plan, because no one talks about China or India. They're building coal.
Yeah, I was just gonna bring that up. Yep,
they're building coal plants. Right?
How about these rich people that tell us, carbon or CO2 is killing us, and then they fly their private planes,
exactly.
To Switzerland to have a thing talk about it. It's just
these people, they're hypocrites. They're complete hypocrites.
Yeah,
I mean, we all want a beautiful planet. Obviously, we all love nature. We don't want garbage anywhere, but then they hide these technologies. They'll get us off these. I mean, you know what really really calls them out is nuclear energy.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no carbon in that. So why don't you say, okay, fine, let's just do nuclear energy? Because it's like they don't want a modern living, or they want the West to fall, because only the West is like abiding by these green policies. China doesn't care.
And it's just the dumbest excuses. Like they point to Chernobyl and they say, oh, we can't do nuclear because look what happened at Chernobyl. And then you don't see anything past that. You don't see all the things they bypassed and screwed it up.
Yeah,
it's unreal.
And then the UFO secrecy. I mean, the biggest thing is people are like, bring that stuff out. Stop talking about climate change and CO2 and bring that stuff out. It's not a problem, but they won't. So there's obviously something else going on here.
Yeah,
they know something else.
You know what it is? I think aliens really love CO2. And that's they like eat it or drink it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. What was that? It was that one movie you just reminded me of. That was Charlie Sheen. Do you remember that one about these aliens taking over?
Yeah, and like the kid turns out to be an alien. That one.
Yeah. But they were the ones who were polluting the planet because it would make it better for them, like methane. It was something along those lines where they were terraforming Earth with pollution so they can end up breathing the air and kill us.
Maybe it's possible.
Yeah, that's not crazy to think about.
No, of course not.
So South Africa.
South Africa.
Yes, they took Israel to the international. What's it called? International Court, ICC. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Obviously, Israel is calling them anti-Semitic for doing that.
Of course.
For calling them out.
The go-to.
Yeah. There was some strong statements by South Africa. I don't know if you saw like the Israeli side. They like lost their paper when they're with their closing statements. It was pretty embarrassing. The guy.
We still haven't found Rayleigh.
Oh yeah, Rayleigh.
I don't know where she is.
I don't know where Rayleigh is either. Where is Rayleigh? Like you'd think AI would pick that up, you know.
I think it was on purpose to do it that way because you get removed.
Yeah. Of course, you're right. So we can listen to these are the closing arguments by South Africa about what's happening.
Awesome.
This is not too long.
On the basis of the current figures, on average, 247 Palestinians are being killed and are at risk of being killed each day. Many of them literally blown to pieces. They include 48 mothers each day, 2 every hour, and over 117 children each day, leading UNICEF to call Israel's actions a war on children. On current rates which show no sign of abating, each day, over 3 medics, 2 teachers, more than 1 United Nations employee, and more than 1 journalist will be killed, many while at work or in what appear to be targeted attacks on their family homes or where they are sheltering. The risk of famine will increase each day. Each day, an average of 629 people will be wounded, some multiple times over, as they move from place to place, desperately seeking sanctuary. Each day, over 10 Palestinian children will have 1 or both legs amputated, many without anesthetic. Each day, on current rates, an average of 3,900 Palestinian homes will be damaged or destroyed. More mass graves will be dug. More cemeteries will be bulldozed and bombed and corpses violently exhumed, denying even the dead any dignity or peace. Each day, ambulances, hospitals, and medics will continue to be attacked and killed. The first responders who have spent 3 months without international assistance, trying to dig families out of the rubble with their bare hands, will continue to be targeted. On current figures, 1 will be killed almost every second day, sometimes in attacks launched against those attending the scene to rescue the wounded. Each day, yet more desperate people will be forced to relocate from where they are sheltering or will be bombed in places where they have been told to evacuate to.
That's the point.
Entire multi-generational families will be obliterated. And yet more Palestinian children will become WCNSF. Wounded child, no surviving family.
Oh my God.
The terrible new acronym born out of Israel's...
So those children won't turn out to be vengeful? You know what I mean? Like they're just creating more.
Right. And yeah, that you're right. I mean, that's the point, right? I mean,
push them away, yeah.
Yeah, what the hell else are you going to do? You know, you're pissed off and you want to, fight for the land, that you have. It's so, mind-boggling.
You ever watch the PBD podcast?
Which one's that?
Patrick Bet David. He's on YouTube. He's pretty big. I think he has 5 million followers now. He's a Christian Iranian. He has a co-host. He's Jewish. His name is Adam. And they had on Bassem Youssef, who's that Egyptian comedian. And they got in a heated debate. And Adam was just saying, the propaganda that's been debunked. And like one of them was like, well, Gaza has gained in population. That's not really a genocide, you know.
It's just it.
And Bassem's like, dude, those people have been moved from other parts of Palestine into there. It's not birth rate going on, you know, just
Right.
stuff like that. And it's just it was really crazy to listen to.
It's just I think of it like this. Like, imagine if the governor in your state knocked on your door and said, "Hey, this person is moving into your apartment or your house or whatever trailer," and then they just started taking up more and more, you know, food, water, your bills, whatever it is, and it's like, how is there anyone that feels okay supporting the side that's doing that?
Yeah, only people that think that the people who are being displaced are not human, or they're just, you know, they don't count. It's just crazy because
Well, and then there was that whole story about what was it? The kids who had been beheaded, and that turned out to be obviously false.
It was all false. Yeah,
Yeah,
admittedly so too.
Yeah, and it's just there's all propaganda on one side. There's only support for one side, and it's just frustrating, you know, to witness that.
What's funny is that this happened. Chaos breaks out.
Man. Now, this is a whole story we could get into for about 2 more hours.
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah. This is such a bizarre thing. Chaos breaks out when NYPD discovered an illegal hidden tunnel under the
Chabad
Lubavitch World Headquarters in Brooklyn. The incident escalated to prevent a cement truck from filling the tunnels. Basically, the Hasidic community in NY had built these tunnels under. They claimed it was because they were trying to say, oh, this happened during COVID. We were just trying to make tunnels to go to the synagogue.
And then Chabad, blamed some teenagers, right? Like rogue teenagers that did that.
Yeah, I mean, this is wild to me.
Watch this. There's some more footage that came out like 10 minutes before we started the show.
Great, fantastic.
You might remember the video from a couple days ago when we explored tunnels underneath of an abandoned synagogue in New York. What I didn't show you is everything inside of the synagogue. They had a daycare inside of the basement.
Yep, they're ripping kids. No, can't say that. Never mind.
Why does it say obey Jesus?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
A room full of TVs and recording equipment.
The number 6.
This very scary looking room.
Oh my God.
Oh my
God. A massive auditorium.
Terrifying.
Yeah, look at this auditorium. Massive.
I mean, this
and a cafeteria.
This just ties
into
Star
of David on the ceiling.
Jeez, this ties into the whole Epstein thing too.
Look at all the chairs, dude.
I know. God, so freaky.
So freaky. It's like I'm playing like a video game or something.
Yeah.
When you find you go underground, you find these things.
I mean, this is unreal. Unreal. These people are truly evil. Not, oh God, have to say
I know.
this.
Not all, obviously.
Right. But there are some evil people. We don't dislike Jews, but there's some people, and just like every community, they're evil.
Yeah, there's evil in all communities, and it's okay that if you call them out, and we have to call them out, or it's just going to continue.
Right.
So former NSA counter spy says Jeffrey Epstein was part of Israeli network.
Yeah, you sent this to me. This is something, this has been going on, not going on. This has been talked about, theorized for a long time with Epstein.
Yeah.
And it ties along with the video we just showed.
Top secret Umbra blog. Oh, he's got a blog, this guy.
Oh.
So it tied to the Mega Group, which was a bunch of billionaires,
and not MAGA, Mega.
Mega, the Mega Group. It's a bunch of Jewish billionaires that atheists too, by the way, that wanted to push Israel and mostly for their job or what they wanted to do. They were worried that because Jews are not very religious, right? They're known like 89% just not religious. And most of them are atheists. So they wanted to create something that they also almost as a religion would love, and that is the state of Israel. So that's what the Mega Group does.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but there's Les Wexner. He was part of them. This is crazy. Is this Washington Post talking about Washington Times? I think it's a conservative outlet. But this is a crazy article, which we'll link to the show notes. It talks about all that stuff. All this stuff was conspiracy theory, by the way, like just a few years ago. So it's crazy that they're mentioning it.
Well, just with everything that's been going on the last couple of years, conspiracy theory turns into conspiracy fact really quickly.
That's so true. I have a sweater that the conspiracy theorists were right, and I don't wear it out too often, but when I do, I do not get good looks.
Yeah, well, of course. Everyone, that's what frustrates me the most.
I mean, it's right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean,
it's not surprising.
Look at COVID. I mean, now the general consensus is that it was developed in a lab in China, and people who were saying that in 2019 were ridiculed, and then it turns out it's true, and we always knew that. And
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what they say. Oh yeah, of course that's what it is. What do you mean? Of course, you ridiculed me like a week ago.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So, that's pretty much it. You shared with me the late Robin Williams. I love this guy.
He was I like him a lot. Unfortunately, he took his own life.
Was it drugs or was it alcohol? Or was it both? He was depressed.
I don't think it was either. He was sick and he hung himself, if I remember correctly.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So
but just the most wonderful guy on the planet.
Depression.
Yeah, had depression, and it's just one of those things where you never know what a depressed person is going to do, and you would never know it because they don't share that.
No, especially not a comedian.
Yeah.
Right. Many of them suffer from depression. Actually.
Yeah. No. I've heard that. Yeah.
And it might be because they just they depend on people reacting and laughing to their jokes, and I guess if you put so much into other people, how they think about you, it might backfire at some point.
Well, yeah. I think it's more of just you're hiding what's truly going on. You're hiding the pain, behind laughter and jokes and stuff like that.
Yeah. So in this clip, he talks about Joe Biden. Obviously, this has to be around the Obama days because I think he passed away.
Yeah, this is old.
Yeah, but Biden hasn't changed. He's just a lot older now. Did you see when he was campaigning in Iowa? I wish I can search for it now. How he was acting really weird around this little girl. How he was like behind her, like whispering stuff.
Dude,
did you see that?
Well, I'd have to if I Google Joe Biden and little girls. First of all, I get on a list. Second of all, I'd come upon about 100 videos because he just loves touching those little girls.
Dude, it's really, really creepy. Wait, is this it? News Punch got to it. Oh man, I really want to get to that scene. It's
dude,
really scary.
First of all, I can't believe that he became president based on all the stuff he said in the past. And second of all, I can't believe that he has any kind of support nowadays. I mean, the guy is a total creep, a jerk, and a weirdo.
Oh yeah, we're getting into World War III because of him.
Yeah.
I mean, domestically, the invasion, at the border. He's just, in New York. Did you hear about that? They closed down schools.
Yep. I mean, what the hell are we doing as a country? You know,
it's a joke. It's a joke. So we're not a serious country. We can't even like support like defend our borders, but we defend Israel and Ukraine's borders.
exactly.
That's not a serious country, man.
Well, you know, and if you look at the people who come into like sneak into other countries, like China, for instance, you get killed, you die.
Oh yeah, yes. Any country.
Yeah,
you can't just here. No, they're because we have barbed wires. Like apparently, like the border patrol are cutting those wires and just letting them in.
Just unbelievable. I saw a video. I think I even sent it to you, where people are just driving through where the border is, like, you know, we have to stop and check and get all, you know, hey, are you a citizen, yada yada yada. They're just driving through in droves. I mean, it is absurd. You can't do that in any other country.
And they're not families. These are what are they called? Military aged men, most of them.
Right. And we shared the video about the Chinese military aged men who had been found, you know, coming through the Mexican border. I mean, it's absurd. Like I don't have a problem with immigrants. I don't have a problem with
we're all immigrants, you know,
Chinese. Yeah, and we are. Our whole family are immigrants.
Yeah.
It's just when you do it that way, it's something else.
And it's illegal, exactly. And you're there for just, I mean, they admitted it in Congress. Adler said it, that basically they're there for redistricting? I don't get it. These things, like, they have ways of adding more people to their district, which gives them a better vote. And they're not asking. Of course, they're not going to ask them for IDs, you know. And of course, they can vote. They're going to say, "Oh, of course you can vote. You're not an American citizen." Forget the American citizens here. Screw that.
And then it's racist if you say you have to prove your identity to vote, where every other country has that. Just
going back to what you said earlier about how the vote for Trump was people retaliating against the system. The system retaliated against that and did this. That we have 10 plus million illegal immigrants.
Yeah, I mean, it gets me so fired up, and I don't like Republicans, but man, I hate freaking the Democratic Party and you know what they're talking about and what their quote unquote beliefs are.
I mean, the only congressmen and senators that are cool are the ones that got in there because of Trump, like Luna, like Burchett, like all those ones were for UAP disclosure are all Trump people, you know, because they want transparency. They want that's what he brought. Forget the guy. But the idea that he brought of like that, yes, we can have someone that's not part of the system be in there. It's not like he was super helpful either. He had one of the worst people around him. You know, COVID was terrible.
Yeah.
Operation
Warp Speed. Good God, that guy, such a piece of shit.
Yeah, he might win.
Yeah, I know. He's like the front runner for the Republicans right now, and I'm sitting here banging my head against a wall. Actually, and I even might have said this on a previous episode, but my brother said to me in 2016 when he got elected over Hillary, he goes, "Can you imagine if you couldn't decide who to vote for because you didn't know who you liked more?"
We're in the same position again. Well, actually, I mean, who wants Biden? It destroys this country.
This is what I'm talking about, man. I just don't understand it. I don't understand how he was elected the first time. I don't understand how he has support this time. It's just, yeah.
Maybe it'll be Newsom and Trump or something.
God, can you imagine?
Well, let's have some comedy relief.
Yeah, please.
Let's forget about politics. Well, he's going to talk about politics.
Bring in some actually happy, good stuff.
Here we go.
We still have great comedy out there. There's always rambling Joe Biden. What the fuck? Joe says shit that even people with Tourette's go, no. No. What is going on? Joe is like your uncle who's on a new drug and hasn't got the dosage right. I'm proud to work with Barack America. He's not a superhero, you idiot. Come here. When FDR was on television, there was no TV back then. Come here, Joe. Sit down. But now, we still have
So
Yeah.
even him,
No wonder he quote unquote took his own life.
Yeah, I mean Hollywood didn't really. Well, what was his last movie? Do you remember? Was it a dark one? Was it a dark movie? I don't.
The movie you're thinking of is where he works at like a photo company.
Yeah. Yes.
It was a horror movie. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. And it was pretty good. But yeah, no. I was watching more clips of him the other night. He was so funny, man. He was. And he knew how to be serious too. He just knew how to play a scene.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I mean, didn't he did he win an award for what? Now I'm forgetting. Ben Affleck and
Matt Damon, the one in Boston. That's what you're talking about, right?
Oh my God.
I don't know where he's like Matt Damon's
psychiatrist.
Yeah.
I think he won for that one.
He must have, because I was just watching a clip of Matt Damon talking about it, and this scene where Matt Damon has left and he walks in, or he's at his house or whatever, and he goes, "Son of a bitch stole my line."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was apparently that was completely ad-libbed.
You're kidding me.
No, that Matt Damon and the director were standing there just like jaws on the ground going like, holy, this guy is unreal.
But yeah, it's a great movie. What is it called? Good Will Hunting. Good Will Hunting.
Yep, Good Will Hunting. Yeah.
Great movie. That's all we have for this week,
Yeah, but now it's time for Movie Corner.
Let's talk about Movie Corner.
Sleepy Bear Topher. Adam, have you seen the movie on Hulu? No One Will Save You or whatever, or
No
One Will Help You.
Oh no, not yet. That's right. I had it on my. Maybe I'll do that tonight.
Okay.
The abduction one, right?
Yes, dude.
I'll watch it tonight.
Okay, it does aliens in such a cool way. It's something else.
No One Will Help You, right? That's what it's called.
I believe so. Yeah.
Wait, No One Will Save You.
What?
No One Will Save You.
So it is No One Will Save You. Okay.
No One Will Save You.
Yep.
There it is. Ooh, September 22nd it came out.
Yeah. It's good, and it's what's funny is it's kind of like an artsy movie. You'll understand when you watch it.
Man, is it only on Hulu or can I watch it on Prime?
I don't know the answer to that. I'm sure you'd have to rent it or buy it if you want to watch it on Prime. But
okay. It looks like I have to probably rent it on Apple or something. Cool. Yeah, I'll watch it tonight.
Man, you have to watch it because there's so much I want to talk to you about.
Okay, I'll watch it tonight. I promise.
All right. Oh, I don't think I've got anything else in Movie Corner.
Well, Barbie. Did you watch Barbie? I was supposed to watch Barbie. I live with two females.
I haven't watched Barbie, but I'm assuming it's pretty good.
Dude, it's hilarious. Now there's some it's about 10-15 minutes of woke shit, but Gosling is hilarious. Like his character is so funny, Ken. Oh man, I don't want to ruin it.
All right.
I recommend still watching it. It's not all bad, It's mostly good.
I've the last week or so, I've been watching either Denzel movies like Denzel Washington, or I've been watching the Godzilla movies.
Interesting.
And including the TV show Monarch, which I don't think it's highly rated, but I kind of like it.
Monarch. So is that about brainwashing?
No, it's about founding the organization that studies monsters.
Huh. Like, it's a true story?
No. Oh God. No.
Okay.
No, it's but it's related to the Godzilla universe. You know what I mean?
Oh wait, when you say Godzilla movies, are you talking about like the Japanese version ones, or actually Hollywood ones?
No, I'm talking about the Hollywood ones. I kind of thought they were like okay. But there's a lot of conspiracy stuff in there that is like they talk about Hollow Earth and different universes and things like that, where I was just going like, huh.
Was it the new Hong Kong versus Hong Kong? King Kong.
King Kong.
King Kong versus
I think that's
Godzilla.
the second to last movie.
Oh, okay. That was a good one. I watched that one.
Yeah. Was that the one where they went to Hollow Earth?
Yeah, that they think he comes from there. Where Godzilla comes, and then there's a lot of high technology in there and secret programs. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There was like a lot of stuff that I was like, oh wow, this is.
Yeah.
I'm surprised this showed up in a Hollywood movie.
Right.
Because those ding dongs don't know how to do anything.
At least not recently.
Oh my God. I don't know what path Hollywood went down.
I mean, it's probably the same path that corporations are going down. You know, the whole DEI thing, like diversion, diversification, equity, and inclusion, or something like that.
We could do a whole episode. We could do a whole episode about that.
Yeah, we could.
Maybe that should be our next deep
It's
dive.
failing though. I think I saw an article that BlackRock is shutting it down. It lost like trillions of dollars their fund.
Yeah, because people don't give a shit about that. They go, hey, look, it's my black neighbor. I don't care one thing or the other about him because I don't know the guy's name.
And it's not.
And I don't hate him.
It doesn't work in a capitalist society. You need a meritocracy.
No, what you need is a good story.
And that, yes. That's what they push is narratives.
Well, they're not good at it because they're not doing a great job. Like the Denzel movies I was watching this past week. Put Book of Eli and Man on Fire on your list.
I haven't watched that in a while. Book of Eli. I don't even remember it. I watched it though. I just don't remember it.
It ends
Was he a blind priest?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where it's religious, but you don't realize it until the end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. 2 hours and 25 minutes.
Yeah, we're starting to get there like every episode at this point.
It went quick though. We're not getting bad feedback about it either. You know, I think
it did. I just wish I could read proper tonight.
It's the naps. I mean, I can't see when I wake up.
Well, the thing is, when I sleep, it takes me like hours to fully wake up. Hours. I'm not kidding. Like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, that's normal.
Really?
Okay, maybe an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, I just can't do it. Well, anyway, thank you everyone for listening to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. That of course is Adam. I am Topher, and I think I forgot to introduce us at the beginning.
Well, it's episode 54 by now. I think everyone should know us. Yes, Adam and Topher and Uncovering Anomalies podcasts. What do you want to? Oh, yes. Follow us on Twitter at UAP the podcast, and you can follow us individually at Topher et al. And Breakaway Civil. They don't allow you to have such long names on X, so I cut it off. It's not Breakaway Civilization. It's Breakaway Civil. We're on all podcasting platforms, all the major ones, even small ones. We're on Rumble. We're on YouTube at Uncovering Anomalies Podcast. Give us a follow there, guys. We have a lot more subscribers on podcasts than we do on YouTube. Even though Spotify these days you can watch the videos, but you know most people are listening to us instead of watching us.
Right.
So if you want to see what we're talking about, obviously you can go on YouTube. But they do censor us a lot. So Rumble might be a better bet because they don't censor us over there. Other than that, support us. We have a link at the end of every single episode to support us. Whatever, even $1 a month. Encourage us. Let us know if we're doing the right job. Comment on the podcast. Comment on our YouTube videos, Rumble videos. Give us feedback. Even on Twitter, hit us up. Let us know how we're doing. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, we of course love to always hear feedback. But mostly our goal is to be able to purchase a lot of cocaine for the shows. That way we can record properly.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what happens, you'll know because there'll be probably no flow to
The
our
show will be
conversation.
The show will be 30 minutes long, and it'll
Yeah.
be super quick of us talking like this, and
We'll be all over the place. Yeah, and
yeah.
we'll pause every few seconds to take a line or something.
Yeah, it'll be great. I can't wait for those days.
But we do want to do some deep dives. Our deep dives we've done one deep dive, and that's done really well, which was Skinny Bob. So I don't know. Let's think about a deep dive we can do. You know,
I know.
Roswell might be one.
I think we've said that like 100 times at this point.
All right, maybe I'll put a poll on for this episode, and maybe people can tell us what deep dive they want to get into with us.
Because I wanted to do a deep dive on Mothman, but I did it myself, and I was like, forget it.
Okay.
I don't think this is worth it, unfortunately. As much as I love all the stuff behind Mothman.
Maybe we should do Roswell then, since it might push it into the ether that they release that information this year.
Yeah,
I think it's a good one too. There's like so much evidence there. There's like signed affidavits, and
it's one of those things. Roswell is that it's everything. Sorry, hold on one second. Everything is a story based on someone you've heard that they've, that they knew, that was roommates with a second cousin of someone who lived there. And it's just like it's so hard to come up with any actual real information.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that'll be a good one though, because I mean, what about the signed affidavits of all like the colonels and whatever that were on the base when it happened? There's a lot of those.
The colonel who heard it from his roommate who lived.
The ones who were actually there. No, the ones who were actually there.
No, that'd be fun. Anyway, this has been going on way too long. Love you all so much. Love you, cuz. And this has been the UAP podcast, and we'll see you all next week.